What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and just a fun little hilarious gaffe for you here on a Tuesday. It's kind of a light news day, so I've picked some kind of fun, goofy stories. And of course, we've seen a lot of people stepping on landmines when it comes to the situation over in the Middle East, including myself. Just maybe making flippant statements can be rough. There's a lot to know when you talk about the history between Israel and Palestine, about the failed two-state systems, the each government making committing serious mistakes over the years. But it's been a bizarre thing to me to watch many progressives line up to support a country or a people where women can't travel alone, where spicy videos are banned, and where members of the LGBTQ community are at minimum persecuted and at worst tossed off roofs. These are not wild speculations. These are facts. And while I don't want to pick a side here because I don't have a dog in this fight, I do think it's curious to me that these certified blue check marks that are all about, today, for example, we've got the beginning of Pride Month and, seeing trans rights or human rights trending, but also people supporting a nation that is anything but progressive. Now, Mia Khalifa, you may remember from the many pearl necklaces she was given in the film industry, an industry she tried to bury and then profit off her own production. Hey, go get your money. I don't care for you as a human being, but that doesn't matter. She decided to make a tweet that hilariously blew up in her face. You see this: my wine is older than your apartheid state. I don't believe I would consider, based on the actual dynamics inside of the country, I would not consider it an apartheid state. I know this is a common thing that progressives say. I'm open to being convinced otherwise, but there are many things that happen that would seem to counteract or contradict that. You want to talk about South Africa and other examples, sure. But regardless, this is a jab at Israel, right? Mia Khalifa is neither Israeli or Palestinian, but Arab of some sort, I'm told. Don't care. And you see, with her 3.7 million followers, enjoying a glass of wine. But what she didn't notice is what she's actually drinking is wine that was produced by the bad guys from WW2. Like literal Nazi wine. That's what she's drinking. Ex-prawn actress Mia Khalifa mocks Israel while posing with champagne from Nazi-occupied France. I mean, chef's kiss. And Saturday, she's come under fire. In Saturday Twitter post, she shared a photo of herself drinking wine while calling Israel an apartheid state. My wine is older than your apartheid state, she said in the post. People on Twitter were critical of Khalifa, featuring a champagne bottle from, in fact, the bad guy from WW2's occupied France in 1943. You're drinking wine made in 1943 occupied France while denying thousands of years of Jewish history in our ancestral homeland. Glad you found the perfect pairing for your anti-Semitism. Hen Mazig wrote on Twitter. Your wine is actually the wine of the Western geniuses who created it before scumbags like you were even imagined living among civilized people, tweeted Raheem Kassam. Then you came along, took your clothes off, convinced barbarians to pay you for it, and brought a product of Western civilization. Great dunk. Who was running France in 1943 when that wine was created? He added. I love how Israel haters cast it as young, wrote the Dispatch editor-in-chief. Yeah, I think it was 1100 or something like that it started. Oh, here. Yes, the modern state was founded in 48, but that's 10 years before Iraq's founding and 5 before Egypt's. The nation of Israel and Egypt are very old. Khalifa countered the criticism, arguing that the inclusion of champagne from the bad guy from WW2 occupied France would be the equivalent of her listening to a famed French singer, Edith Piaf, or Paf. Khalifa has been fiercely criticizing Israel since the conflict in Gaza broke out in May, routinely denouncing it as an apartheid state and bashing it as defenders of terrible things. Well, here's the thing. Mia, your profession would not be allowed in the country where you live or that you're supporting. Over the weekend, comedian Bill Maher expressed further frustration that liberalism has been equated with being anti-Israel, denouncing model Bella Hadid for saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. That is a PLO saying, as far as I can understand, right? One of the frustrations I had was while I was off, it was watching this war go on in Israel, and frustrating to me because there was no one liberal media to defend Israel. Really, we've become this country now where we're kind of one-sided on the issue. It's amazing to me that progressives think that they're being progressive by taking that side of it. The Bella Hadids of the world, these influencers, I just want to say in February this year, a Hamas court ruled that unmarried women cannot travel in Gaza without the permission of a male guardian. That's where the progressives are. Bella Hadid and her friends would run screaming to Tel Aviv if they had to live in Gaza for a single day. I just think that, of course, you could see, the Daily Wire noted, people were immediately critical of Khalifa for using a champagne bottle produced under the bad guys from WW2 occupied France in the early 1940s to criticize the Jewish state. However, there's an additional layer of absurdity being missed. In the Lebanese-American actress gained fame and online promise by engaging in a lifestyle that she had been living in Gaza or any one of the numerous Muslim nations, she would be jailed or far worse. Let's take the obvious subject of spiciness. She's taken part in at least one spicy scene, which involved same-gender people, according to civil society organization Ensues. This is against the law, facing 10 years imprisonment. Conversely, in Israel, the state she accuses of these violations and apartheid, this type of behavior is legal to produce and access. While Tel Aviv, the city often targeted by rocket fire, was described by one newspaper outlet as one of the most gay-friendly cities in the world. The city is even nicknamed the gay capital of the Middle East. Let's next consider alcohol consumption. In Gaza, residents are banned from possessing alcohol. I don't know is that true? I've seen people refuting that. Ironically, one of the many Muslim countries which also bans alcohol is Khalifa's birth country, Lebanon. You won't find such restrictions in Israel. Finally, let's consider one final factor, religion. Born Sarah Jo Shomon into a Catholic family, Khalifa moved to the United States in 2001, fleeing the so-called South Lebanon conflict. 15 years of battle between Islamic group Hezbollah and Lebanese proxy militaries partnering with the IDF. Thousands of Christian Lebanese fled the region during that conflict, fearing reprisal from Hezbollah. During or beyond Lebanon, Christians continue to be actively persecuted across the Muslim world. In Gaza specifically, they are actively persecuted. In Israel, members of all Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, can access holy sites in Jerusalem. Now the city is under Israeli control. Hardly an indicator of an apartheid regime. The same is not true under regions controlled by Palestinian authorities. In other words, Mia Khalifa's tweet alone demonstrates the ridiculousness of her apartheid accusation. Israel and not the Palestine territories allows women to engage in her type of job. Israel, not Palestine, allows women to engage in enjoying other women. Israel, not Palestine, allows women to drink. If Khalifa is going to accuse one demonstrably liberal nation of imposing apartheid while simultaneously ignoring the nations which would criminalize her various life choices. Perhaps geopolitical commentary from a former spicy actress isn't one of the haven of reliability it once was. I mean, her tweet, of course, getting absolutely destroyed. Again, I think, people should probably stay out of it. Mia certainly is being hilariously hypocritical here. I think people that consider themselves liberal in this country, that isn't to excuse Israel from the things it's done. I just think this is one of the most hilarious self-owns, maybe, in history. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.